Okay. Thank you. Welcome and good evening, Wareham. Welcome to the Wareham Conservation Commission meeting of September 3rd, 2025. We are starting early. And let's see. The Wareham Conservation Commission will hold a meeting under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6, and any other applicable laws. All hearings of the Wareham Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Wareham Wetland Protection Act and the Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6. Although a single decision of the Commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. All matters listed may involve a decision and possible vote. Roll call, please. Michael.
Michael Mercier.
Sandy Slavin.
Paula Jean O'Neill.
Scott Sobey.
Jessica Parr.
I declare a quorum and that we are open. John, do we have anybody online? From Water Wizard? Would there be a name, Scott?
Cal Clausen.
Okay. I can't start public hearings until 6 o'clock.
Let me see if I can contact him.
As I know, we're here to listen to that presentation on the Water Wizard regarding vegetation, water vegetation control, aquatic vegetation control. We're going to do it early. So, well, while we're waiting, I just thought I'd let the public know that we've had continuations for Safe Harbor. Marina will be continued until, let's see, 29 Camp Street will be continued. 7 Burgess Point Shores will be continued. Town of Wareham Bike Path will be continued. And we've had a request to continue 49 Edgewater Way and 15 Cleveland Way. There'll be no discussions on these items since they are continued in case anybody's hanging around and want to talk about them. Well, I was thinking, I can't start the public hearings until 6 o'clock. We can't start the continued hearings until 6:30.
Well, I've emailed Cal to see if he's there.
Well, what we could do is the certification of compliance requests.
For that, I would actually request a continuance for to get a little bit more research done on it.
Okay, so we'll continue it. We have the review of enforcement orders from Hamilton Beach Association. You want to take that up now, waiting to hear from Water Wizard? All right.
So that goes along with the 1 Reynolds Ave enforcement. Part of that is on the neighboring property that's owned by Hamilton Beach.
Yep. So Hamilton Beach Association is on the review of enforcements.
Yes.
I know that 1 Reynolds wanted a continuance, or he cannot make it.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about the Hamilton Beach Association? We can bring it up now.
So essentially, it's the same thing. It's the destruction of that resource area, and it's the building of those structures.
We have a representative from the Hamilton Beach Association. Why don't you come on up and introduce yourself while we're waiting for our presentation? We can get Carrie, we can get you in and out.
Good evening. Kerry Pastor, representing Hamilton Beach as president of the association.
I sent him a link. I sent him right here.
Okay. So there was an issue with 1 Reynolds Ave encroaching into the wetlands and the salt marsh, which was owned by the Hamilton Beach Association, correct? I'm correct?
Yes.
So what does Hamilton Beach Association need to do regarding this?
They also need to file to remove the portion of the structures that's on their property.
Is there anything else down there? So they need to remove the property from 1 Reynolds Ave that encroached onto the land owned by the Hamilton Beach Association.
Yes.
So they need a notice of intent?
Yes.
Carrie, any questions?
No, we've talked to a contractor that's giving us an estimate on doing that job, because we need to pick up, I'll reference it as a patio bricks that have formed both a parallel and perpendicular wall in the resource area. And our plan is, without getting into legal issues with the current owners of 1, is to move it up onto that driveway and just place it there nice and neat.
And let them deal with it since it is their property.
It's their property, their issue from there, so.
Because the note from the property owner was that he had no problem removing it. But, yes,
Yeah, so I did get a call from him recently, and he seemed perfectly fine to work with us to get it taken out. He said he would be back here on the 19th, I believe, on the weekend, and he would speak to some contractors.
So he's gonna remove it? Is that what he's saying?
He's removing the portions. I'm assuming that he may remove the entirety of it since he built it, but I can't
we
really
need
say.
clarification as to
This has been
Hamilton
go-
Beach needs to remove what's on their property.
Yeah,
And,
I
and
think-
Grant needs to remove what's on his property.
yeah.
Yeah, because this has been going on for about a year and a half with that there. And I believe he may be referencing, I'm not speaking for him, the patio that he built within the 30-foot buffer zone. But what I'm talking about is the actual patio bricks that are on the Hamilton Beach
Yep.
Association property.
The patio, which is on 30-foot, is all on his property, but there is a clearing and patio that splits the 2 property lines.
Correct. Well, actually, it doesn't split them, they're on ours.
They're on his and they're on ours, and it's the same, the wall is continuous between the 2 properties. Yeah,
We were having the contractor give us an estimate to remove that, and we would hope to have it done after October 1st, when most of the residents leave
So-
seasonal people leave the island.
and I think it's something that Christine can sort of work as to who should be paying for the cost to remove. The approval to remove it is one thing. Actually physically doing the removal is another component. And maybe we can work with Grant to do all the labor, but we still need a notice of intent.
Yeah,
We're prepared to fill out the NOI on that.
Yes,
All right?
Yes.
And have it here by September 11th back into the Conservation Office, correct? I think that's what it says, the directions?
yeah.
Yes.
okay.
All right. But as far as him doing it and waiting for him to do it, at this point in time, the association doesn't want to wait for
So
him.
the association's willing to do the labor to remove it and pile it on his property?
Correct, just so we can be done with the
So that's a
matter.
piece of information we now have that can be shared with him, should he ask. Okay. Anything else? Christine, are we done?
Yeah.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, I'll have a good one too. Thank you.
Of course, I wasn't going to mention we had a quorum of the sewer commissioners here. Okay, we have him, is he online yet, John?
Yes, right there. Cal Clausen.
Kel Clausen? Okay.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, please identify yourself.
My name is Calvin Clausen, and I'm with a company called Water Wizard Aquatic Services, and we also have a company called Water Wizard Trucks or Sales. And I was asked to speak a little bit about machine removal of vegetation for lakes and waterways that y'all have.
Thank you. Scott, can you give us a little background as to why Calvin is here?
Yeah, sure. So a couple of months ago, we had a presentation from camp. It was an update on their activities for reducing the amount of invasive species in their portion of the waterway, milfoil and some other invasive weed species were there. And they've been using a reputable contractor for some time for using herbicides to remove these weed species. It was some of the commission, or maybe all the commission, were concerned about what's happening to the herbicide. Even though the company has monitoring for the compound itself, there was some question about whether the degradation products could be accumulating in the soil and moving downstream and so on. So I got to thinking about whether there were alternatives, and I happened to run into Cal at an alumni meeting and found out that he had a company that did this kind of work. And so I thought it'd be a good idea for Cal to talk a little bit about what his company does and what the machinery is capable of doing before the commission and before the public.
Thank you. Calvin, I guess you're up. Talk to us about your process.
Yeah, so I came across these machines a few years ago. I've spent my career mostly in tech, but my partner and I and several others that are now partners with me have always been outdoorsmen and fishermen, and seen how chemicals get dumped on lakes and ponds, and we don't care for that. And so when we saw this alternative, these are machines that are built in Sweden. If you ever take a look at Sweden, it's a little bit like Minnesota on steroids. And there are waterways everywhere there, and so it's not surprising that they came up with this. These machines are called Truxor machines. They Truxor, and they are amphibious machines that were built specifically to be easily moved from land to water without being dropped in like a boat. They can actually drive right into the water. They're used in about 72 countries currently. They're used on all but Antarctic continent. They're in Africa, Asia, Europe, North and South America. There are actually probably fewer of them per capita in the US than anywhere else, but they are starting to get somewhat of a hold here. I think, is it okay for me to share just so you can kind of
Yes,
start
please.
to get an idea?
Yeah, because we have a group of people here from the camp Mill Pond that's very interested in how this works.
Sure.
Thank you.
And so you can kind of see, are you able to see the screen there?
Yes, we've
So
turned off
that's,
some light now.
I'll kind of show you a few different photos here. This is just from one of our websites. The machine, it's almost like a tractor for the water. It has tracks on it. It kind of looks like a tank when it's on land that propel it both on land and in the water. For larger bodies of water, you can add a prop, almost like a boat, so that you can move more quickly across the bodies of water, since you can see the tracks right here. You'll see a lot of different types of attachments depending on the material that you're working with. Our company deals with everything from submerged weeds like milfoil and coontail and naiad. Also, there's We deal with cattails and lily pads and American lotus, a lot of different things, and all kinds of different attachments are available for these machines. There are service companies around the US, just not that many of them. I'm not aware of any service companies that have these machines in your area, but there very well may be. We are located in the Midwest and in Central Texas, and we also sell machines. We have customers in about 8 states, all the way from North Carolina to Utah. These machines can also be used for dredging. They're not the most efficient machine for dredging, but they can dredge, and dredging would be removal of silt and sediment, mud, if you have boat ramps or boat slips, things like that, smaller areas that you want to be very strategic about how you dredge. These are great little machines for that. There aren't anything you would use for massive dredge projects, but they work really well for small dredge projects. And so they're a little bit like a Swiss Army knife for the water. And the materials then, by removing these, that you're doing a number of things for your waterway. You want to balance in the amount of vegetation that you have in any, whether it's a lake or a pond, or if you have other waterways where people need to move through with boats or other traffic. You need a balance there. You never want to remove all the material, but as you probably know, there's invasive types of vegetation, and then any vegetation that, even if it's not normally invasive, if it begins to take over, more than 20 or 30% of a waterway, it's unhealthy for that area. It's unhealthy for the fish. And it certainly can, make it difficult to use it in recreational ways. So we've been pretty heavily involved in using these for service and and selling them then to businesses and individuals and communities who, want to take care of their lakes or ponds. In a larger area, it's, I would say an average service agreement would be, companies are charging anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 a day for removal of vegetation. Dredging would be probably more expensive than that. A machine is going to cost a couple $100,000 depending on what equipment you would get with it. So it's you kind of have to look at, can you find service in your area? And if you can you find a reasonable way to contract that? Or you might consider like a community that would have tractors and other equipment that you have that's part of the community. If you all, I've seen some of the water that you have there. You've got a lot to deal with. Could easily make it worthwhile to have your own equipment, and then have a company like ours who would help you maintain, service it, get parts for you. We support, like I said, we support companies all around the country. So there are, this is getting, you see, it actually has digger arms and things that probably more than you would need just for removal of vegetation, but it does do a lot of other things as well. So that's just a really quick high level.
Calvin, can you tell us the
Yeah.
process? Do you cut down to the roots or to the soil, or do you remove the roots and then remove the cut vegetation? What is the
Well,
process?
Yeah, it's different for all the vegetation, it all depends on what vegetation you have, how much of it you have, how deep is it. These machines are not going to remove anything that's below 10 feet or so. And some submerged weeds can grow into 16 to 20 feet of water. So you're not necessarily removing everything with these. What you are able to do is minimize or mitigate the amount of chemicals that you're using by, any of the material, the vegetation you can remove, that's that much less that you have to treat. So you can either use no chemicals and then just use the machine more often, or you can complement the use of chemicals or complement the use of the machine with enough chemicals to treat the things that are most invasive or areas that are the worst. And so, it really depends on some of the submerged weeds are, most weeds are growing in shallower waters, and that's where you have the worst problems most of the time are in coves and shallow bank areas. The sunlight's able to get through, and a lot of times those shallower areas, the water isn't moving as much as well. And so you just have a lot more nutrients there for the vegetation to grow. And it also, when you have algae, like you see in this bigger picture right here, there's floating dead algae there. That's growing on the bottom and then it's dying and floating up. Well, in deeper water, it doesn't grow nearly as well as it does in shallow. So some of it is about, if it's submerged weeds, you can remove a lot of that down to about 3 feet, 3 or 4 feet, which is where the bulk of those submerged weeds are. And then if you have shorelines where you have, or shallow areas where you have things like lily pads, American lotus, cattails, Phragmite is, I don't know if you have Phragmite out there. It can be devastatingly invasive. Those are things that you can use the machine to control. And it really, it's a little bit like taking care of a yard. You can just continually mow it, or you can mow it and add chemicals and water it and do different things. So it really kind of, that ideal thing you would do is have a bit of a plan with a lake and pond expert to come in and talk to you about what do you want, what are your goals, what's your budget. And I mean, you could just have 1 or 2 machines and manage all your water with that and just not use chemicals. You're just going to be using the machine more. And, what might be more likely is that you use some limited chemicals where you need it and then use the machine the rest of the time. And you might have someone pretty active on a machine all summer, all through the season, all through the growing season. You can, the best time to do chemicals is early so that you prevent the weeds from growing versus waiting till midsummer when they're almost impossible to knock down with chemicals because you end up using a lot more. But most of the work we do, we're combining. We don't do chemicals ourselves. We work with a company who's done it for 30 years. And so we work with them. They love working with us because they're actually naturalists themselves. They don't like putting chemicals on, but they're experts at it. So they like working with us, and they'll have us go in first, remove as much vegetation as possible, and then put chemicals on. We do have several customers who absolutely want no chemicals, and we just come in on a regular basis, like a landscaping company or a lawn mowing company, and take care of their lake when they, they need us to keep it clean.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to, quick questions because we are running into our standard meeting time at 6 o'clock.
You bet.
Michael, any quick question?
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean?
No, thank you.
Scott?
Just a couple quick questions, Cal. So how much coverage can you do in a day with, I don't know, kind of an average weed load?
About an acre a day of submerged weeds. If it's cattails or something thicker, Phragmite, which kind of looks like cane, you might not get a whole acre, but it averages out an acre, sometimes even more than that, depending on, just the coverage and the thickness of it.
And I'm wondering about how much the tractor weighs. Does it have rubber tracks? Does it cause damage on the banks when it moves up onto the banking?
No, the only time you'll have damage, some damage, the tracks themselves are like a heavy plastic, and they're pretty wide. The weight of the machine is about 3,500 pounds, so it weighs less than a lot of skid steers and things like that. You don't drive it like a tank where you twist and which would drag and tear up. You don't turn it like that. So if it's real muddy on a bank, you can if you're going up and down a lot. But we go right over people's yards a lot of times to get into property. So it really doesn't do a lot of damage though.
Thank you.
Jessica?
No questions, thank you.
I do have some people from camp. If you have a quick question, you want to come up and ask Calvin about the process or anything like that?
Sure.
Just come up and identify yourself. You can, Faithy, you can turn on one set of light. Other one. Thanks. Identify yourself for the record.
Yeah, I'm Mike Lenahan. I own property on the pond, and I'm president of camp. I don't know if Cal's still on there or not, but appreciate the presentation, Cal. I mean, my background is a civil engineer and a contractor who's done a lot of wetland work myself, so I can, appreciate the type of equipment that he has, and I know how they function. I'm sorry to say that you probably won't get too much action up here in the east as you do down in south and down in, down in the Midwest, because, it's a little bit disruptive to the environment according to state agencies and according to most, conservation commissions.
Ask your question of Calvin, please.
Well, I don't have a question, but I like to give you a little,
But we're not here we're here to talk to Calvin and his
Okay.
process. You can make your point when you come before us for your next hearing on the camp.
All right,
on
I'm
the Mill
sorry.
Pond.
I
Because
mean,
we do have to get to our meeting.
yeah, I mean, I understand that, for water chestnuts or something like that, but the specifics of our pond, Calvin, will not allow, fragmentation of the weed, because that just, you have to transport that. There's no bankings on our pond where you could pile up the stuff, and there's only one public access, so I wonder how you
Yeah,
get around
there's
that.
other ways so if you have a question about like removal, you don't always have to, and we work with the DNR in a lot of places, so you can have floating, trailers that you're putting the weeds onto and then transporting those off, via boat or, backhoe or whatever you want to use on the shoreline to remove that. So there's a lot of different ways to remove it without just dumping it on people's banks. So I understand that.
Yeah, it's about 2 miles long, and there's only one entrance point, and it's owned by another state agency, which, for a boat parking lot, so we really don't have the logistics are pretty difficult there. And again, I just want to say to the board, you know, we have, when we first started this process to get our permits, we went through all these different type of, you know, possibilities, methods, equipment, products, and that was, they were obligated us to do that. And for our particular pond, it was, you know, the mechanical method was not allowed. So
Okay, thank you.
that's where we are.
Yes, sir.
I'm a member of camp, I live on a pond. Been watching
Sure.
Conservation Commission meetings for the last 8 years. Seems to me this is not a project you'd approve.
Don't know yet. I mean, oh.
It's just my
this-
comment.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask that we finish this. Calvin, thank you much for your time. I appreciate your sharing of information with us. And
You
have a
bet.
good, have a good
I'll
evening.
send a few things, just follow up for Scott. You
Yep.
know, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just trying to help
We
you
were
inform.
interested in the process.
You bet.
Okay,
Happy to
thank
do
you.
that.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Sure,
Scott.
I'm sure our association would appreciate if the town bought that unit, I can tell you, and then allowed it to happen, but no such luck.
All right.
All right.
Michael,
Thank you.
first.
Best of luck to y'all.
Yeah, thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you, Cal.
Michael,
Thanks,
first
Cal.
hearing, please.
Yes. All right. Pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaws, Division 6, a public hearing will be held in Room 520, Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass., on Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025, at 6 p.m. On the request for determination of applicability for 35 Riverside Company, LLC, P.O. Box 418, 35 Riverside Drive in Onset, Mass., to relocate and elevate existing structure onto a new foundation, map 11, lots 260, 35 Riverside Drive, Onset, Mass., and I believe that's going to be continued until the next hearing, correct? Or a
I
future
never
hearing?
got it, I never heard.
Well,
No,
no,
is
that
there-
is,
No, Riverside Drive didn't.
I
Is
thought
there-
it did. Oh, okay, so. I'm
Is there
sorry,
anybody
sorry.
here representing? Please come
Oh, yeah,
forward and
okay.
identify
So a
yourself.
motion to open the hearing?
I have a motion to open the hearing, and second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, the hearing is open, and identify yourself, please.
Sam Imelli with JC Engineering.
Sam?
Yep.
Okay, talk to us about why we have to move the building.
Sure.
No, never mind, that's not, the why is not part of us. Okay,
So this project takes place at 35 Riverside Drive, and as it was mentioned, involves relocating and elevating an existing structure onto a newly poured foundation. The property is located within flood zone AE elevation 14, and to maintain flood zone compliance, we are seeking to elevate the structure above the flood zone elevation. While doing so, the structure is also proposed to be shifted approximately 10 feet to the northeast, and that's to maintain compliance with zoning. The footprint of the structure will remain the same with the exception of a few additional steps to account for the difference in elevation, and grades around the building are proposed to be the same as they are today. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
in your document, you said newly poured foundation. I didn't see a newly poured foundation.
I didn't either.
I'm sorry?
You have indicated this, move this structure onto a newly poured foundation. There's no foundation unless I went to the wrong house.
There is not, no. The foundation would be new. It's right now sits on blocks.
Yeah,
and-
reading what it is, I'm saying to myself, I expected to see one.
Oh, see, an
Where it says
existing.
newly
Apologies.
poured, I expected to see one.
Like wrong house?
So,
Because
yeah.
there's a bunch of stakes in the back, and then there's no
Okay.
foundation back there.
All right,
That's all.
questions, Jessica,
No questions.
Scott,
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean,
No questions, thank you.
Michael.
No questions, thank you.
Wow, so it will be moved 10 feet and then raised, 14?
Above elevation 14, so approximately 3.5 to 4 feet higher than it is today.
Wasn't this recently built? I mean, this was not the structure that was there.
Nope, this structure's, according to the assessors, been there since 1934.
This two-storied building has been there all that time?
Correct, yeah. Recently underwent some renovations, but
Oh,
it's-
because it went through the renovation, they now have to comply because it was more than 50% or something like?
Correct.
I'm sorry, that's another committee, that zoning and planning, so I'm trying myself, this has already been there, so that's what happened. Okay, Christine, any comments before I ask the public?
No.
Anybody online or in the audience would like to comment on this project? No one's online. Okay, no one raised their hands.
Move to close the hearing?
Thank you.
Second.
And I close
I
the
do
hearing
it.
in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
The hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendation.
-2, -6.
So moved.
I have that motion in a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstain. We are 500. It is done. See Christine before you start any work.
will do. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next, please.
All right. On the request for determination of applicability for Theodore and Jane Less, 5 Franks Way, P.O. Box 751, Wareham, Mass. Set 16-inch by 16-inch stepping stone pavers from portion of lawn to the river's high water mark to allow for easier access to river. Map 134, Lot 1027, 5 Franks Way in Wareham, Mass. And motion to open the hearing?
I have that motion.
Second?
And I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. The hearing is opening. And who's here representing this project?
My name is Jane Less, and I'm representing the project and have been an owner in Wareham for over 40 years of property. And we just want to put a couple of stepping stones that make it easier for us to get down to the water's edge. We're not putting concrete with them. We're not, dropping them, in a fashion that disturbs. It's just stepping stones to the water's edge. So,
Okay, questions? I'm going to ask Jessica.
No questions.
Scott?
It's pretty steep at the bank. Do you envision that a stepping stone is enough, or will you need stairs?
the portion of the bank that you might think is steep is not where we've outlined the steps to go. It's actually a walking grade that gets a little oddly stepped.
Yeah, I didn't see
And
any
so
stakes
this
there,
is-
so.
I'm sorry?
I didn't see any stakes, so it was difficult for me to tell where the path was gonna go.
Okay.
I have no other questions, thank you.
I provided a little paper showing where the steps would go in my application.
I see that.
Okay.
Paula Jean?
I did go there, and this gentleman showed me where it will be. And I'm reading this again, and it says it's going to be 70 feet of steps are going to be added. That's what it says on the side. So approximately how many pavers do you think that
Okay,
will
so
take?
the number of pavers is on the 40 pavers that just go down.
Over, and all of that will be in the 30-foot zone, I believe,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Michael?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you.
How much of a difference in the water level between high and low tide?
About 8 feet,
And you'll only put these pavers up to the high tide mark?
high tide marker.
Okay. Christine, comments?
I went out there to the site back months ago. The one thing that I would have a comment on is when I look at the RDA itself, it says 16 by 16, but on the plan it says 18 by 18.
Okay. I might have hit the wrong number. Ted, the size
The pavers
of...
are continuing pavers. Presently, my name is Theodore Less.
Please come, you'll have to come up and identify yourself at the mic. So it's being recorded and the minute taker needs to hear it.
Theodore Less. I am the husband of Jane at 5 Franks Way. The pavers are continuing at 18 by 18, and I'm sorry, I think there was a fat finger of 16 by 16.
So the existing, it's the
The
same
existing-
size of the
Exactly.
existing
The
pavers.
existing ones, they
Exactly.
just continue down to
down
this
into-
extra little
Thank you.
space.
And the path, the path that the pavers will walk are the one that's, you can see has been walked on quite frequently.
We're using it, but I always feel my ankles are gonna.
No, but-
Yeah, it's-
Because it was staked,
Oh,
it gives us an idea you want to use the path in which you can see that has been walked frequently.
yes.
Okay. Anybody online or in the audience would like to talk to this project? Okay,
Move to close the hearing.
I have a
Second.
motion and a second to close the hearing. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstain? Hearing's closed. Christine, your recommendation.
-2, -6.
Okay. So moved.
I have that motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstain, we're 500. You have it, don't do any work until you get the paperwork from Christine, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank you
very
for
much.
having us.
Next
All
one,
set?
please.
Okay. If I butcher this name, my deepest apologies. The requests for notice of intent for Adriana and Paul Quattriacci, I guess I'll pronounce it, my deepest apologies. 14845 Seneca Run Court in Darnestown, Maryland. The applicant proposes to demolish a circa 1950 cottage and construct a single-family dwelling. Map 46, A2, lot 14-9 Nimrod Way in Wareham, Massachusetts. Motion to open the hearing.
I have that motion.
Second.
I have a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? For the record, it's Darnestown, Massachusetts, not Maryland. Okay, and who's here representing the project?
Actually, I looked up, Downstown's actually in Maryland.
But the hearing,
I know the advertisement said Maryland, but I think it's, I
Thank
think it's
you.
written wrong, but.
hi.
Madam Chair?
Yes, yeah, please introduce yourself.
Good evening, my name is Dave DeVigna, and I'm from Schneider DeVigna Leone, and I'm representing the applicants. It is a tough name to say.
That is a tough name to say, and I believe they do live in Maryland, right?
We have it down as Maryland.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you, I'm saying myself.
But the site is 9 Nimrod Way, Wareham.
Correct.
That's what we're here for.
Okay, David, talk to us.
So, this is a tear down and replacement project of a 1950 cottage. The resource areas on the site are mostly off the site, if you will, except for the fact that it is land subject to coastal storm flowage. The entire site falls within flood zone AE elevation 16. There are several coastal resource areas south of the site. We have a coastal bank, which is the vertical masonry type concrete and stone seawall. Part of that is on the property and part is off the property. Oh, how you doing? No, not this one. Sorry. He's going to assist me on a later project. There's also salt marsh immediately at the base of the wall and heading seaward, and we're also showing the approximate mean high water line seaward of the retaining wall. So the project, the proposal before you, the left side of the plan shows existing conditions, which depicts the house, the deck, a shed, various patios, all will be demolished and be loaded into dumpsters and trucked off-site for proper disposal. So we will basically clean the site back to an open vacant site and then build a new house in the same general location. The new house will be constructed in compliance with FEMA. Currently, they're in flood zone AE 15, I'm sorry, AE 16, and the first floor is elevation 10.4, so it's drastically out of compliance. The new threshold will be set at 18.8, 2.8 feet above the base flood elevation. The house will be set approximately 7 feet further from the coastal bank. Currently, the house itself is approximately 20 to 21 feet away, and the new house will be approximately 28 feet away. The deck that will replace the existing deck will be more or less the same distance from the property line and therefore the coastal bank. The existing shed will be demolished and not replaced. We are proposing roof runoff northerly to be located on the north side of the dwelling, between the dwelling and Barnacle Road. The house is serviced by water and sewer and will be connecting to the existing service stubs that exist. Underground electric will be installed from the northeast corner of the house to the existing utility pole located at the intersection of Barnacle Road and Nimrod Way. We do have a DEP file number. I guess a couple of other items, we're showing very minimal grading activity other than leveling off the south side of the yard where the house will be, have a walkout underneath the house. We have some grass swales along both property lines so that we do not direct any runoff onto abutting properties. We have a dewatering basin up at the northeast corner should we need that to occur. And again, we have a DEP file number, and we have no comments on that file number. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Jessica?
No questions.
Scott?
I have a few questions. Is there anything preventing you from going 30 feet instead of 28 feet from the edge of the resource area? Like setbacks or something?
Setbacks. We are going to have to go to Board of Appeals for the tear down and rebuild. Typically, you like to show an improvement, even if it's only that much. And the existing setback of the overhang is 15.2 feet from Barnacle. That's non-compliant, and we're proposing 15.3 feet. So it's difficult to go to ZBA and make something more non-conforming.
Well, the alternative, of course, is to make the structure itself smaller.
That is true. It's not a very large house.
It's a big garage. The point I'm trying to make here is that you are completely raising, or as we've been saying, raising and raising.
Right.
The building. So it's a new structure, and you're proposing to put part of this new structure on within the 30-foot no-activity zone. So that's what you're asking us to approve here.
Correct, but it is a structure that exists within the 30. The deck exists. It predates the bylaw that was created. The area, the property is utilized as lawn right to the resource area.
Yes, but you're making a new structure.
We are, yes.
You're not maintaining, you're not repairing, you're making a new structure. So that's a different ballgame from maintaining an existing structure. So I was wondering about moving back to the outside of the 30-foot no-activity zone and moving the proposed deck also around to the side of the house so it wouldn't be in the 30-foot no-activity zone. Its footprint is different also from the existing deck.
The deck on the easterly side is to provide access around the building to the front porch.
Yeah, I see that.
Is that what you're speaking of, eliminating?
So on the new plans, you have a proposed deck with flagstone patio below. And that's all within the 30-foot no-activity zone.
It is.
So I'm wondering if that could be moved around to the, whatever, east side of the house, the northeast side of the house, so that it wouldn't, that also would not be in the 30-foot zone. I understand why the homeowners would want to have the deck out there. Believe me, I understand that. But I also am, as you are, cognizant of what the bylaws allow for us to do in the case of a brand-new structure.
But this is already disturbed property.
I understand.
Correct, and if I may point out, the deck that exists now is near ground level, and the proposed deck will be up at first floor level. So we will, it's in,
So the proposed deck will not be on the ground.
that's correct.
Yeah, there's still shading issues, though.
Shading, I'm sorry.
Shading of the vegetation underneath. Or you said there's flagstone, you had, so that would be paved underneath, so there wouldn't be any vegetation underneath this. Is that right?
That's correct.
Anything else, Scott?
Not at this time, thank you.
Paula Jean?
Scott just expressed my concerns. I was gonna bring up where really, it's a 30-foot no-touch zone. And I was thinking that the project could be modified, either made smaller, move the deck, whatever, so that it does not encroach at the 30-foot zone at all.
I just would like to point out, the lot is only 3,760 square feet.
I was there, it was
I'm-
quite small. I kind of thought the cottage had, you know, the old 1950s charm.
Anything else, Paula Jean?
No, that's it.
Michael?
The only thing is, I'm just looking at this graph, and I can't find the 30-foot no activity zone. Is there any way?
I
I'm
do
sure.
not have that on the plan, no.
And I know because it's so close to the water, I
Yes,
get that.
the plan's drawn on a 10 scale, and it's a small lot.
Gotcha.
But I
Okay.
don't have it on the plan, you're correct.
Gotcha, okay. Yeah, that was my only concern, that's all.
Christine? Yeah, sorry. The total proposed house dwelling itself, the physical dwelling, and all of the patio area, how many additional square feet is it taking of covered land? I mean, the old house is pretty an odd-shaped one, and the new one is nice and squared and rectangular, and I was just wondering if the square footage of the property, that dwelling's about the same.
The existing building coverage I have stated on the plan is the house, garage, deck, shed, and the two porches are 39.5%.
Of the property.
Yes.
And the new one?
The proposed house, deck, and porch is 42.6%.
Now, Christine, I'm going to ask you a question. If the land is already disturbed, do we have an issue? Is there, the 30-foot no disturbed area goes for property that has not previously been dug or disturbed, correct?
Yeah, so any new structures or any new expansions into the 30-foot wouldn't be allowed, but something that had already existed there, if it was in that same footprint, that would be fine.
So you're moving it back from the water a bit. The
Yes.
house, the structure of the house. The deck is slightly shifted from what it was before. The old deck square footage to the new deck square footage, is it about the same size? Just different?
It's very similar, it's very comparable, yes.
So the house right now, including this deck, goes right to the edge of the water. Right?
It doesn't go to the edge of the water, no. It, well, it depends on where you're measuring from. We have setbacks to the property line, which is northerly of the resource area.
So you have to go to zoning because your setback from the road is not sufficient.
We have to go to zoning for multiple reasons, one being setbacks in all directions. We don't meet anything. The existing structure is legally non-conforming.
So I guess the question that's been asked here, can you move the house a little further closer to Barnacle and ask for just a few more feet non-conforming as opposed to a few inches non-conforming? I'm just,
Well, it's a tough answer only because I can't speak for the Board of Appeals. We try not to make things more non-conforming. It's usually the best path to an approval through Board of Appeals.
there's not much vegetation on this property other than this huge wisteria. Will you be doing any more planting between the house and the road? I don't see anything on the plan.
Well, we have a crushed stone driveway in the same general location.
Yep.
Everything north of the house would be lawn or landscaped areas.
Okay.
Grass along the west side. Everything around the deck between the house and the seawall would all be grass or landscaping.
Is there any other questions?
Somebody in the,
Would the flagstone patio be considered new?
The flagstone patio, if it's in the same footprint, that would be allowable, but if it expands into any new area in that 30-foot, that's something that you guys wouldn't allow. Which, my questions here are you amenable to moving the deck?
Moving the deck from the south side of the house to the north side of the house?
No, I think she's saying, can you make the deck smaller to reach the dimensions that the previous deck covered? Was that,
Yeah, or move it somewhere that's not within that 30-foot.
It's,
And mark the 30-foot on the plan so we know where that is.
Yeah.
it's impossible to get out of the 30 with a deck. That's pretty obvious to me.
well, they've had a previous deck there.
Correct.
So what we're looking for, can you take the new deck and put it in the dimensions of the previous deck between the house and the river?
So like an overlay plan?
Well,
Yes, I can do that, like one in red and one in blue, so you can see the overlay, and I can also make sure that the deck is no larger. And I assume we're not talking about just the walkway to the east, that's an egress issue. The only reason that's there is to connect, because they will be elevated 8.5 feet higher. But the rectangular deck, as dimensioned, is 14 by 19 on the water side of the house, and I can compare that to the existing deck footprint, which is L-shaped. The new deck will be further from the resource area. We do have two dimensions on the plan. We have them to the property line, but they're both relative, they're comparable. The existing site plan shows the deck being 10.4 feet off the lot line, and the proposed deck is 10.7 feet off the lot line.
So 3 inches difference.
Correct.
so we're looking for a overlay, the old deck and the new deck, and we're looking for a 30-foot setback from the river.
That would wipe out the entire deck and
No,
part.
no,
Oh.
just, it gives us a hint
Oh,
to how
I'm sorry, Matt, I'm
much-
sorry.
How much of the
Show
activity.
the 30-foot line, no
Yeah,
problem, I
Show
understand.
the 30-foot line to
I'm
give
sorry.
us some hint as to what will be within the
Okay.
30-foot, knowing that it's already been disturbed, but by comparing it to the old to the new, it gives us a hint as to whether it's going to chew up more of the 30-foot than it hasn't already done.
I understand now, thank you.
Did I understand, am I understanding what we're asking for?
We want to compare footprints within the 30 for.
Yes,
Okay.
that is definitely it, and then where the 30-foot is, so.
Okay.
Anybody online in the audience on this project?
I think there's a person
Please,
in the,
please come forward and identify yourself.
Hi, I'm Bill Manguso, and I'm representing Pinehurst Beach Improvement Association, which is the owner of the land of the beach and front there. Which
Okay.
is why I'm here. My first question, my only question was going to be, How many living levels are there going to be in this house?
That's not outside, that's outside conservation.
What is?
That would be a planning or a zoning.
Okay.
Am I, Christine, right?
So,
The number of dwellings or the,
How many floors of living space?
yeah, that would be more of a planning zoning question.
Okay.
There's like height.
there's height
Didn't know
restrictions.
that.
Yeah, there's height
Yeah.
requirements, height restrictions.
We can talk about the land and the water.
Okay. And so if you could repeat to me the percentage of the lot is 40-something?
So he's looking for the coverage.
So we're proposing minus the stairs, because we're elevating 8.5 feet, and that's a mandatory, you have to get to it. So a comparison of the existing house, shed, deck, and porches, the existing is 39.5%. The proposed is a 3.1% increase.
So 42 something?
Correct.
42.6
Yes.
total coverage. Okay,
And
anything
yeah,
else?
is there a limit on that? Is there a, I'm just curious as to what relevance that has.
That would be zoning.
That would be zoning too.
Zoning, planning takes a look at the coverage of a particular
I'm
site.
just curious
And I honestly do not know.
from my own knowledge.
But zoning meets on the second and fourth Wednesday in this room.
Okay,
Check for the agenda
sure. Yep.
to see if this is on it.
Well, we typically apply the conservation first before
Yes.
we go to zoning. So
But keep in mind, for your questions, when they do come for zoning, those would be the time to ask what you're asking us.
correct.
Okay,
Okay, so,
good.
I guess, David, we're looking for a continuance for a couple of changes in the plan.
Yes.
Wait, I have
Christine?
I have one more question. So you have the proposed cobblestone driveway. How are you planning on putting that in?
You know, I'll have to get you that answer at the next meeting. I don't know the particulars. I originally had it as something different, and I was instructed to change it to cobblestone design. I understand your question, though, because it can be done in different manners.
Yeah, I was just wondering if it was going to be permeable.
Right. I will get that answer and clarify it on the plan.
Of course, that would be our preference.
Yes.
Can we also say it would be our preference to move out of the 30-foot no-activity zone?
We want to see the plan.
Yes, but that would be my preference.
Well, it's going to be the point that I want to know, am I moving it 3 feet or am I moving it 3 inches?
Right.
I'd like to see what type of move back, because that house is already in the 30-foot zone, so it's not any further, it's already in the 30-foot zone, and I want to see what the new structure would be in the 30, because I'm not going to ask it to move out of something that's already disturbed. I know it's a new building.
That's my concern, I just want to say that's my concern as well. I would like to see it not be in the 30-foot zone at all, and I don't want to make them have to come back with another set of plans either. So, I thought better to stress that now.
I'd rather see the comparison of the new and the old, because, never mind. Give us a comparison. You may have to come back again and move it, but that's an issue with, feel for building and zoning and stuff. But, okay?
Okay.
David, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, can I need a motion?
Motion to continue till next meeting,
What's the next meeting? 9 what?
17,
17.
9/17?
September 17th.
I have a motion to continue until 9/17.
Second.
Thank you. A second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained, we're continued to 9/17. The next hearing, please.
All right. On the request on a tent for Michael, Elizabeth, and Osborne, 33 Livingston Drive, Plymouth, Massachusetts. The applicant proposes to remove a cesspool and replace it with a Title V compliant septic system. map 21, lot 1013, 30 Lydia's Island Road, Wareham, Massachusetts. And motion to open hearing?
Have that motion?
Second?
And a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained. Hearing is open, and please identify yourself presenting this project, please.
Yes, Madam Chair and Commission members, for the record, I'm Dave DeVignan from Schneider, DeVignan, Leone. I represent 30 Lydia's Island Road Realty Trust. My clients purchased the property last year. This is a Title V upgrade project consisting of the removal and replacement of a cesspool and the installation of a new septic system in compliance with DEP and Wareham Board of Health rules and regulations, which include the installation of a single air denitrification septic tank, a pump chamber, and a bottomless sand filter for the leaching area. The resource areas on this site are various. We have Coastal Bank, which again is a vertical masonry, concrete, and stone seawall along the northerly part of the property, which abuts Shell Point Bay. There is salt marsh at the base of that wall running seaward. We also have delineated several bordering vegetated wetland systems. There is one to the northeast and east of the property. I think that we show it as two separate BVW systems because Lydia's Island Road bifurcates the wetland system to the east. And then we have another flagged wetland system to the southwest of the site. The property is rather odd in shaped. It's a rectangle that narrows down and then into another rectangle to the southwest. Additionally, the entire site falls within land subject to coastal snow and flowage. It's a VE elevation 18 flood zone. Due to the well locations on the property and on the southerly abutting property, there is only one location that the leaching area can be placed, which is as shown on this plan. The septic tank will be located just southeasterly of the existing cesspool, which will be pumped and filled. The septic tank will be 10 feet south of the house and 10 feet off the lot line from the west. The pump chamber will be located across Lydia's Island Road, which is a odd situation where it's really a gravel driveway that runs through the property, but it services other properties down to the east. And the leaching field is to be located as shown abutting Lydia's Island Road where we did the perk test. We can't go any more south than where it's located because we have to be 100 feet from the abutting well on the abutting property to the south. We also can't be any closer than 50 feet from our own well. We're about 55 feet off of that well. The septic tank will be greater than 50 feet from the resource areas from the north, that being the Coastal Bank and Salt Marsh. And the leaching area will be somewhere about 80 feet from the BVW to the southwest and greater than 75 from all resource areas. We do have a DEP file number. There were no comments. And with that being said, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Michael, questions?
It looks like it's currently in the front of the cesspool, that is currently in the front of the house. I see some stakes way on the side of the house. Is that associated with this project or not?
They may have been dig-safe stakes. There was several, I think dig-safe was called out there a few times when we did the perk test, and there may be still stakes out there, but they do not reflect stakes that we set for the septic system.
Okay. And so, getting back to this one now, the proposed cesspool, that would be, I'm trying to find it now here.
It's a double circle just to the southwest corner of the house.
Just the south corner of the house.
Cover to grade.
Okay, I see it now. Okay, thank you.
So we're gonna pick up the pipe right out of the house at that location and fit the tank in at that spot.
Okay, okay. Okay, I'm good.
Anything else?
No, no other questions.
Paula Jean,
No questions, thank you.
Scott,
No questions, thank you.
Jessica?
No questions.
Do you think you're going to hit a water table while digging this? Do you need a
No, I
dewatering?
don't, and I'll tell you why. The owner wants it installed this month, and so that he can get the lawn reestablished. And so we sent it out to bid to 5 contractors. We expect it to be installed this fall. And right now, water tables
No
are
one has,
way
everything's been
down.
tested and no one has an issue with the water table, even at high tide.
No, I mean, we had modeling at 22 inches when we did the test, and water was 4 feet below grade. The removal and replace of material in this particular case is only a 12-inch deep depth, so
Okay.
it's not.
Christine, questions, comments?
I can see there's no erosion controls proposed on here.
That is correct, because there's no activity that could cause any we won't be stockpiling any material. The excavation for the septic tank, the material will be put in a dump truck and hauled away, and the tank will be lowered into the ground and backfilled. The same with the pump chamber. There's really nowhere to put fill on the site. There's nowhere to disperse any excess fill. And the bottomless sand filter is a confined box. So I didn't show any because we wouldn't be protecting anything at that point.
Concern?
No.
Comfortable with that response? Anybody? There's nobody here. Anybody online on the project? Any other questions?
Move to close the
I
hearing.
have a motion to close the
Second.
hearing. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. The hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendation?
Standard order of conditions.
So moved.
Standard order of conditions. I'm no second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. We're 500. You have the project, please, David. Don't do anything until you hear from, you work with Christine, okay?
Thank you so much.
We have Russell McKinnon, 28 Nelson Street. Please come forward. And identify yourself.
Attorney Jillian Morton here for the applicant. And it's just going to be me tonight. My engineer is not available, or my architect, so.
And we're missing Kwame, so he's missed 2 meetings. I have no idea what we're going to do. Because I only have 3 people that have attended every one of them.
Well, we spoke to Rich about this, and he pretty much said that the majority of the members that can vote as long as there's a quorum.
But if I have a quorum, and that's 6 people, if I have a quorum, I must have 4 people. But I won't have 4 people that have heard everything. I'm sorry, well, Ms. Moore, I really want this clarified as to where we stand. Because if I have 6 people here, I would have a quorum of 4, but I can have only 3 that can vote one way or the other on this project, because everybody else has missed meetings.
I thought a quorum was 4 of the 7,
That's to hold a
Members.
meeting.
right? And then,
But a quorum for presenting here, we have 5 people.
Yeah.
The quorum here would be 4.
but I don't think you need a quorum, you need a majority.
But if I have 6 people voting, I'm going to take this. I have 6 people voting 3 one way, and the 3 have to abstain. I can't get a quorum.
We could defer to Josh, he's on, isn't he?
That is my concern, is that we have 6 members. Of that, I must have 4 people vote one way. 3 of those 6 must abstain because they missed too many meetings.
Yeah, or in Scott's case, he wasn't a voting member at the time.
And that is an issue that the attorney has agreed that Scott cannot vote because he was not a full member during one of the hearings.
Yeah.
Okay, and I know you disagree with him, but I leave it up to the town attorney to make that statement. But here's just an issue for Josh to help. I don't know what to do. If you can speak to Mr. Bowen, I can never, three must recuse themselves, which means three to vote, and that's not a quorum, even if I've got, it would be a quorum of three if I only got 5 people to show up.
So there is an option, and that is to.
Tell someone to stay home?
No, is to withdraw the application and reapply. Then we would have a full board that would be able to
Starting
vote.
over again. But I believe that that's with us to try to figure out what's the best way to process your request. But,
Okay.
okay, so you're here tonight to talk to us about some additional information?
Yeah, and I apologize, I realized it was today, but I had just heard from Christine yesterday from the peer reviewers' response. So I wanted to provide the board with just some more information, case law. I think that we've gone over this quite a bit. I know the peer reviewer's stance, but we've done our best to get as much in compliance with your wishes. We have renderings as well that you can pull up to see. The peer reviewer had said that it's still not on the same footprint, so he wouldn't be inclined to approve, but I wanted to show you it's not a hard and fast that it has to be 0% change. You have that ability as far as in the BVW, because we have avoided and minimized and mitigated a lot of things. And I think everyone knows from all the different hearings what we've changed, and at this point in those plans, it's on the same footprint, there is a shadow. At the worst time, I think it said it was 24 feet of shadowing.
All right, questions? Michael?
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean?
No new questions, thank you.
Scott?
I'd like to read into the record the findings and basis for denial, just to summarize the points that have been made.
I don't think it's appropriate at this time, because we're not going to be taking a vote, are we?
I think the vote is frozen. You have no way to get to a vote, because Kwame has now missed 2 meetings, so
That's right.
that
Well, here's-
violates the Miranda rule or
Okay,
whatever it is.
I have 5 people here. I have a quorum of 3. I could vote tonight, because Michael, Paula Jean, and myself have been to every single hearing. So with 5-member presence, I need 3 to vote one way, because I have 2 people will abstain. So,
Is that how you want to conduct the meeting, though?
I don't know yet. I'm thinking about it. I don't know what else to do. If there's nothing new being heard, we've got the additional information from Ms. Morton on September 3rd. We've talked, the peer reviewer has given us several statements, and his last one contained a pretty significant document regarding a denial. But I'm going to add anything else before I ask Jessica if she's got any questions.
I don't have any questions.
So you're not going to let me read this
I
into the record?
could very well in a minute.
Okay.
Christine, have you seen or heard anything new coming in?
No, there was supposed to be something from the civil engineer, I believe, but I don't think that ever came in.
It should be in there. He said he dropped off the plans 819 that shows it's on the same footprint. And then you have the renderings from the architect as well. So as far as withdrawing the application at this point, that's not going to happen, so
Yep.
rather
So,
do what we need to do.
anything else to add? If not,
No, I just want to remind the board, I mean, it has to be specific reasons, and this is a very unique case that your actual peer reviewer said, yes, it can be approved with these conditions, and then went back on it. So it puts the commission in a bad spot, I think, if there is a denial.
But it wasn't a full yes, it was a yes, maybe.
Right,
with-
and now we're looking at a .0000.
No, even before that, he gave us reasons in his August 5th, 25 minutes, a letter regarding the reasons for a denial. And so we're looking at that, his earlier letter, his early report, wait a minute, I'll find it, June 3rd, said it's possible with some restrictions. It's possible. Then he came back with a fully defined, stronger reason with a reason for denial. So if there's nothing else, I will read this, Christine, your recommendation? To me, we have a document from the peer ecosystem solutions from our peer reviewer, Brandon, and,
Do we close the hearing before?
well, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else before we close the hearing. Nothing. So, if anybody has anything new, if not,
Before we close the hearing, I'd like to, if you're not going to let me read these, I'd like to make it a public record that you are not letting me read these spaces for denial into
and
the
it will
record.
be in there as we come along with our votes. The reason for our denial will be read when we vote.
Just, but I'm not allowed to vote, so I wouldn't have a chance to read them into the record at that time.
You can't vote, but you're still a member. I mean, it's whether you read it or I read it.
So is motion to close the hearing?
Scott, I mean, it doesn't mean, to me, I think it becomes part of the record when we take our vote.
Well, you're the chair, you have to make that decision.
Thank you. All right,
There's a motion on the floor.
I have a motion to close the hearing. I need a second. I have no second, then we can't close the hearing.
Why wouldn't we close the hearing?
Well, I don't have a second.
No, I just mean, there's no procedural reason not to close the
I
hearing.
know,
is
that's
there?
why I'm surprised I don't have a second. Scott, you are a member, you can second this. It's
I'm
closing the
aware.
hearing.
I'm
Second.
aware.
I have a second to close the hearing. All in favor? Jessica?
Aye.
Scott?
No.
Paula Jean?
No.
Sandy? Yes. Michael?
Yes.
We have 3-2-0 to close the hearing.
But can I mean,
Now, we've closed the hearing.
no, I mean, can I vote on the closing of the hearing?
Yes, you are a current member. You can't vote on the
Okay,
motion,
all right.
okay?
Now you would have your opportunity, or Christine?
Christine, your recommendation.
Well, we have what the peer reviewers written, and something that I was concerned about in particular was the mitigation itself, since by your own admission, the lawn that's there has been maintained. So it's feasible to think that since it's our wetland, it would just regrow wetland plants. So proposing to put more wetland plants in that section doesn't really seem like mitigation to me, since it would have more than likely grown back on its own.
Okay. We've closed the hearing. Would someone like to take a motion and read the denial or the approval? So someone would like to take a motion for this project?
You can't move either.
Does Scott have an opportunity to read what he wanted to read into the record?
Yes, now that we're about to vote.
Okay.
I need someone to make a motion. And honestly, Christine, does it make a difference which one of our current members read the motion? They're not going to, whether they vote or not vote on it, but it's reading the motion, and it's one of our 5 people here can read the motion. So Scott, would you like to read the motion?
Move to deny.
Read it.
Where is it?
It was on, it came out of the August 5th Ecosystem Solutions
Okay.
peer review.
I'll have to find it.
I make a motion to deny the project. You want to read that?
Let me find it.
Here, one pass the paper down?
Sure.
Thank you.
Is that what you wanted to read?
No, I have something else.
I wanted to hear what he was going to read before we voted, if that were possible.
Would it any different than what's being presented by our peer reviewer?
I would like to make a motion, and if it's seconded, I'd like to speak to the motion.
All right, but yeah, I want the motion to include that denial there.
Okay,
Please.
so the motion is to deny the project proposed in DEP file number 076-2886 as the project has not adequately avoided or minimized alterations to wetland resource areas, and therefore cannot be conditioned to protect the interests of MGL C 131, Section 40, and Division 6, Article 1, also known as the Town of Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw. The project is expected to have significant individual or cumulative impacts upon the resource area values protected in the Town of Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw, including but not limited to protection of 1. Groundwater supply under both the Act and Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw. 2. Flood control under both the Act and Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw. 3. Land containing shellfish under both the Act and Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw. 4. Fisheries under both the Act and Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw. 5. Storm damage prevention, including coastal storm flowage under both the Act and Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw. 6. Wildlife habitat under both the Act and Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw. 7. Water quality under the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw only. 8. Water pollution control, Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw only. 9. Erosion and sedimentation control under the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw only. And 10. Shellfish under the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw only.
That's the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second for discussion. Scott, I'll take that paper back.
There are additional, not additional considerations, but additional information that further explains some of the points that were just made in the motion. The first is location within a resource area. The proposed project involves work directly within a bordering vegetated wetland as defined under 310 CMR 10.52.2 and will result in alteration of this protected resource area. 2. Presumption of significance. Pursuant to 310 CMR 10.55.3, bordering vegetated wetlands are presumed significant to the interests of the Wetlands Protection Act, including public and private water supply, groundwater supply, flood control, storm damage prevention, prevention of pollution, and protection of wildlife habitat. 3, there's been a failure to rebut presumption or meet performance standards. The applicant has not provided evidence sufficient to rebut the presumption of significance, nor has the applicant demonstrated that the proposed work complies with the applicable performance standards set forth at 310 CMR 10.55.4. Specifically, no mitigation measures have been proposed to replicate lost wetland functions or minimize adverse impacts. Additionally, trees identified on prior plans are not addressed on new plans. 4, failure to meet burden of proof. Under 310 CMR 10.057, the burden of proof is on the applicant to demonstrate that the interests of the Wetlands Protection Act are protected. In this case, the applicant has not met this burden. So the determination would be that based on the above findings, the Confirmation Commission should deny the requested order of conditions under MGL C 131, Section 40, and 310 CMR 10.00. The proposed activity will result in the alteration of a resource area without sufficient mitigation and will adversely affect the statutory interests of the Wetlands Protection Act.
Any other discussion? I'll go for a roll call vote. Jessica?
Abstain.
Scott?
Abstain.
Paula Jean?
This is to deny.
This is to deny.
Yes, deny.
Michael?
Deny.
Sandy? Deny. The vote is 3-0-2. The project is denied.
Thank you.
We have a continued hearing for Kathleen Rose O'Neill, 23A Barn Street. Anybody here or online for that one? Nobody? I gotta find my paperwork on them. That's the rundown house in Swiss Beach, right?
It's the one with the cease and desist sign, yeah.
Yep. Where is my folder? There it is. I'll take a motion to continue until,
Motion to continue until September 17th.
Second?
a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, continue to 9/17. We now have Safe Harbor, which is continued to 9/17. Let me put that folder away. Now we have 29 Camp Street will continued until 9/1. Cabral, let me put that folder away. We have 7 Burgess Point of Lloyd Andrews continued into 9/17. Put that one away. We now have the Town of Wareham Bike Path until 10/15. Put that folder away. We have the Virginia Green Turner 8 Johnson Street, proposing to clear dead trees and brush and a walkway around the base of the house. Why did we continue this one? Help me.
I'm looking it up.
Were they going to come back with plans?
Let's see, they did
Oh,
not
we
have
had
a
no
DEP
DEP.
number.
Yeah, we had no DEP. We still don't have a DEP number for
Okay,
this
So
one.
we're going to continue until 9/17, no DEP.
Move to continue to 9/17?
I have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 9/17. We have,
19 Bay Point.
Riverhawk, 19 Bayview Point. Anybody here for that project? You're still here. Oh, okay. So Riverhawk for the Bay Point. Can I get a motion to continue to 9/17?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye, opposed, abstained. Anybody else for that one? Next one is 28 Fisherman Cove, Perkins Realty Trust.
I thought that was continued, was it? No, I guess not.
That was for proposing a reconstruction of a residential pier. Oh, yeah, that pier has fallen. Okay, there. All right, and who's representing this project?
Madam Chair, I'm Dave DeVigna from Schneider DeVigna Leone, representing the E.H. Perkins Realty Trust for property located at 28 Fisherman Cove Road.
All right, and?
Hi. Hi, I'm Dwayne Vlaco. I'm the contractor for the job.
Thank you, Dwayne. David, talk to us about what they want to do.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair and Commission members. So this project is a pier reconstruction project for a licensed structure that was licensed by the DEP Waterways Program in 2003, but has existed, I would say, decades prior to that being licensed. The existing pier is quite unique. It's a hybrid pier, to say the least. It has 4 large concrete abutments as supports, and they support the first 3 spans, long concrete pre-stressed planks, that function as the decking. The last of the 4 spans is a steel I-beam, structural supported timber deck span, and there are metal handrails throughout the whole pier from beginning to end. At its seaward end, there are 3 floats, all 6 by 14. They're held in place by 6 pilings, timber pilings. The proposal is to remove the entire deck railing system using a crane set on a barge with the materials loaded onto the barge for off-site disposal. The concrete abutments will be broken and removed during low tide events and taken down to the mean low water line. At that point, they will be left in place from mean low water line down. The first abutment is above the mean high water line, so you won't see any of that. And each of the next 3, you will see a little bit more as they'll be level with mean low water. So you might see something at an extreme low tide. Turbidity curtains are proposed around each individual concrete abutment as they're being taken down, and all the debris will be loaded onto the barge and disposed of at an off-site location. The new pier will then be reconstructed and supported with 5 sets of 12-inch diameter timber greenheart pilings. The pilings will be strategically placed between the abutments so that we know we'll be able to install them to proper depths. So there'll be 10 total greenheart pilings to support the new pier. The pier itself that will sit on the pilings will be prefabricated aluminum gangway sections brought in from the barge and set and secured to the pilings. The existing timber piles for the floats will all be extracted completely out of the bottom substrate using the crane and then loaded onto the crane, and the floats themselves, they'll all be hauled off-site and then replaced.
Replaced with Greenheart?
Yes.
Thank you.
The 3 floats that exist now will replace with 2 floats. They will be 8 by 20 in size. They would run the same alignment that exists today. And they would be held in place with the installation of 3 sets of 2 pilings on the very ends of the floating dock and 1 set in the middle so that we can use chains to hang them and create the 30-inch separation that's required or recommended by Mass DMF from the bottom substrate. At the beginning of the pier, there's a landward, what I'm going to call a concrete abutment. You walk down the stairs and you get onto the platform and the pier takes off from that. That's in rough shape. The whole face is completely eroded away. That needs to be rebuilt. There are also a set of solid filled staircase going into the waterway from that abutment on the north side of the pier. That will be completely removed and replaced with a seasonal aluminum staircase, something that provides the access to the beach, but that can be removed during the off-season. The pier will be high enough for lateral public access below and in front of those stairs, below the new strings of the pier itself, the new walkway. In order to rebuild that abutment, we're proposing to install vinyl sheet piling along its face and turning it and running it back into the seawall that exists. The abutting concrete seawall to the north has vinyl sheet piling. We're looking to just continue that. It would be no higher than what's shown, what's there next door, and be solely to be used for the repouring of that concrete pad. That pad serves as the landing or the takeoff for the pier, and the new gangway will be set into that pad and secured to the pad. As far as permitting, this project will require authorization from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. We have filed that application. and the reviewer is awaiting the issuance of an order of conditions to proceed with the permitting. The existing pier is currently licensed for the proposed reconstruction that you see on the bottom of the plan, which includes removing the abutments and replacing them with piles. A few months ago, we obtained a minor project modification from the Waterways Program to do exactly what we're doing with the pier. The new floating dock arrangement beyond the end of the pier will require a new license. The original license had the float in a different direction, the sizes don't match, and putting in piles in different locations requires a new licensing. So we have applied for that. That is in motion, and they are also awaiting the order of conditions to be issued. So we do have a DEP file number, and with that being said, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Michael?
Okay, so there's no issue with any, say, a shellfish or any eelgrass in that area or anything like that? We have obtained the DEP file number for that?
There's no eelgrass in
All
the
right.
area. There's none mapped. We didn't see any when we did our bathymetric survey. I did send the project plans and notice of intent to the shellfish officer. I have a green card to prove it. I didn't receive any feedback from him.
All right.
And we did get comments from Division Marine Fisheries. They've essentially submitted the same memo to the Conservation, the Army Corps, and now the Waterways Program as part of the process. They have 4 bullet items that they listed. The first says all piles that will be removed should be fully removed from the substrate rather than cut at the base, since the area is suitable shellfish habitat. And we have no problem doing that. That's what we're proposing. Repair of the structure should be within the same footprint as the existing structure. Any expansion of the footprint into tidal waters of the Commonwealth will result in the loss of shellfish habitat. We are proposing to maintain the same footprint of the pier, and the same with the floating dock. So we are complying with that. Any activities requiring barge should be restricted 2 hours before and after high tide to prevent the barge from grounding and map shellfish habitat. That is part of our narrative. It's on the plan, our methodology, and Dwayne's fully understanding of that. He is the marine contractor who has been contracted when we obtain all the permits to build the new pier. And then lastly, fuel spills from refueling of the construction equipment will adversely impact sensitive resource areas. Impacts to resource areas can be avoided by prohibiting all land-based equipment from being refueled on site. If equipment is refueled on site, adequate containment and cleanup materials should be required to minimize impacts. We're proposing this to be a project done by the water using the barge. There is no land activity going on.
Okay, thank you.
No, so you're not even going to do the seawall vinyls from land? Okay, sorry. Paula Jean?
No additional questions, thank you.
Scott?
Well, of course I have questions.
That's why I didn't forget you.
So I'm fascinated by this idea that some of those pilings you have on the plan go down 3.5 feet or 3.3 feet. Is that right? These concrete pilings go down between 1.8 and 3.3 feet below grade level?
We do
I'm sorry,
not.
did you say concrete pilings?
Yeah. The existing,
The existing abutments, we do not know the depth of what they exist.
oh, I thought on the, sorry, but I was looking on your plans and it looks like you have them at 1.8 plus or minus to 3.3 plus or minus feet below grade level.
No, the grades, the minus elevations that you see reflect existing ground elevations relative to mean low water.
Okay, well, that puts a different spin on things. So,
We show dashed lines if you follow the profile view of the concept of we assume that they're going down below grade 3, 4, 5 feet, we don't know.
okay, so that's a lot of concrete. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but, so I'm wondering how you're going to, I'm wondering about the methodology for removing that. Will it have to be fractured, cut? It's an important question, I think, because of the potential effects on the surrounding ecosystem.
So even at low tide, it's still in water.
Either way, I mean,
No.
it's still, I can understand cutting the abutments off in sections and pulling them off with a crane or whatever it is, but how will you remove these underground sections as required by, or suggested by, in the letter from the
We're
officials?
we're not breaking ground or pulling anything out of the substrate. We're taking the abutments down to the mean low water line.
Yeah, but the letter from DMF, doesn't it say that they want them completely removed from the
No,
substrate?
they're talking about the extraction of the float piles. They're saying don't cut them at mud level and leave them.
Oh, I'm reading that differently.
Do those concrete things, are they called something other than piles?
Abutments.
Abutments?
Yes, they're not considered
So it's a
pilings.
different reference. So when they reference piles,
Yes.
they're talking those things that are on the end in which the floats are attached.
So the wood rather than the concrete?
Right.
Oh, okay, thank you for that clarification. But you are planning to take the concrete down to grade level?
Well, no.
No.
On the first abutment, it happens to be grade level because in the dry, at low tide, we will be above landward of low tide. But as we go to the second abutment, at low tide, we can take it down to low tide, but there's still gonna be some left. We'd be
So
underwater.
we're not going to go dig in to remove it.
That's correct. That's the whole point.
Okay.
We're not looking to pull out
Okay,
a
okay.
massive volume that we don't know how deep it
So
goes.
there'll be a structure below low tide for
Yes,
someone to stub their toe on,
Or oysters to.
or oysters to attach to, but there's no
Yes.
dig, is that what you're getting to your point? There's
Yeah.
no digging?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to
Okay,
get at.
thanks.
Yes.
Yeah. But all that other concrete above that will be removed, though?
yes.
Okay, and is that by fracturing, like with a jackhammer, or is it dynamite, or is it cutting? How is that?
A couple different options. We just did this over at 46 Winship. We did the exact same project. We did it, it was like a trial run almost for this one. We cut some of it, and we were able to pick the pieces off. And then we used jackhammer to get some of the pieces. It kind of depended, like you might take the jackhammer and hit around the edges, and then take the excavator with the thumb, and you could grab a big piece, and it went on the barge. And then we used these giant bags. So any little pieces of concrete that spit out the sides, we picked them up, and we put them in the bags, and then we come and pick the bag up and put it on the barge.
Yeah, that was part of my question, so thank you for I
Yeah,
personally would be in favor of dynamite. No, I'm just kidding. Secondly, I'm sure you're aware that, and these concrete pre-stressed planks, those are going to be removed, is that right?
Correct. We'll pull up alongside at high tide, and we'll pre-strap them, and then we'll cut the joints and lift them as one unit onto the barge.
Yeah, so I don't know if you're very familiar with the Wareham bylaws, but they require spacing of deck boards on all piers and docks. So I don't know how old those concrete things are, but way before, right? But anything that's new that is put on there needs to comply with the bylaws. So I don't know if the decking was proposed to be solid decking. Certainly that aluminum ramp that's on there now is solid decking. There's no spacing between the boards. And actually, the bylaws specify what the spacing has to be. So I don't know what the plan is. There's no indication on here as to what the deck will be made of.
We're proposing to use a through-flow decking, which is
Plastic grating.
it's a plastic and it's a grating material, so there are not planks.
It's a great
Grading,
material.
like a grate, like.
Perforated?
Okay. I
Yeah,
get it.
they're
Grate.
they're sort of oval shaped. It's a.
Like when you walk over the subway thing in Boston and
Or if you drop your boat keys,
they're gone.
they're gone. Okay, so because they're worried about shading, that's why.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that alleviates that.
Instead of the three-quarter spacing between deck boards, it's all open.
Okay.
And we use it a lot in the areas where it needs to get the sunlight through.
And then just one last clarification, the cross bracing or X bracing you have here, that's green heart as well?
That I would have to look at the plan and see.
It stipulates the piles are green heart, but doesn't say anything about the cross bracing.
We have called out pressure treated, but if you want to condition the project as such, you have the attention of the contractor as well as myself here.
Yeah,
For the X bracing?
yeah.
Yes, we can do that.
Yes,
Over at-
absolutely. No, you can speak.
That's a good question.
That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Wow, okay, Jessica,
No questions.
okay, my turn.
Sufficiently covered.
The walkway. Help me understand how much spacing between the planking of the walkway? Or is it going to be solid?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up,
We talked about you talked about the float.
Well, this was about the planking on
Okay,
the walkway
perfect.
itself, on the pier
we can,
itself.
Madam Chair,
I can show you a
if
picture.
he can approach, we can show you a picture of what through-flow decking looks like.
And that's for the walkway and the float.
The float,
So that's for the walkway.
the walkway.
Okay. So the sun can get through is what we're asking.
That's correct.
That's all right.
Sorry. We're doing one, we're actually working on one right now in Dartmouth with the same decking.
But the float,
The float, you can't accomplish the same thing because you need the float drums below the float. So you can't,
I'm gonna get
you
shaded
can put through
anyway,
flow, but you're really not accomplishing
because I
anything.
need the floats in order to.
Right.
Okay, now my question is, when you do the vinyl seawall, will that work also be done from the barge or from land?
Yes, he can reach it at high tide. He has a pretty
So you're
good
gonna have
reach.
2 hours plus and minus, you could work 4 hours a day.
It's not a lot that we're proposing. It literally is about 12 feet maybe across the front
Okay,
and then angled back towards the seawall.
where will the barge be when it's not performing the work? Where will you store it? Where will you moor it?
We'll back away from the site and stay in enough.
Mooring, anchor, what?
Oh, spud. Spud.
A what?
A spud.
He's going to use what they call a spud, which holds the barge in place, but in deeper water.
Anchored.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's a different,
anchored.
it's a different type of mooring.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And we'll move back from the site where we can cycle the tide and keep, 3 feet
So
under
it's
at
a
low tide.
temporary structure to hold the barge during construction.
Yep, we're just anchoring it, basically. It's the same, just different terminology.
Without the 7-foot swing, never mind.
No, we
Okay,
don't swing, we stay put.
I'm just sorry. The seasonal stairs, where will you store them when you're off-season?
Up on the lawn area.
So is that part of the plan, to have them stored upland?
Yes,
So we can put that in the conditions.
absolutely.
Now, with the addition of floats, is this pier and float any further in the water than it currently is with 3 floats? I'm trying to do the math, and I'm having a tough time. It looks like it's further out, a little bit more than what it currently is with 3 floats,
It is slightly out further, yes.
which is why you have to ask for,
That's one of the triggers for a new waterways license,
Okay,
yes.
so-
But it's also a configuration, that doesn't match the original license plan from 25, or whatever it was, years ago. Plus, it's a different size float, we're putting the piles in different locations, so there are various reasons why we have to ask for it.
How far further out is slightly?
I'll get a scale and tell you.
I have a tough time adding all the numbers up quickly.
43.6 for the new one.
Measuring from the same, the end of the existing last abutment, the existing float lands 55 feet past it, and the new float will be 60 feet past it. So it's
5
about a
feet.
5-foot push out.
Why?
I'm sorry?
Why?
Um,
Why did you have to put it out 5 feet more?
Well, one of the issues with rebuilding the pier is if you look at the proposed location of the last set of pier piles, we have to get them beyond the existing abutment, which it sits like this.
Oh, okay.
I have to get them out, so I'm already 2-3 feet out
Because the foundation of the abutment's gonna be
to
there.
stay there.
So you have to work
Right.
around that. Okay.
And the other reason is, well, we have a spacer between the floats in order to have a connection. And we need the spacers so that we can put a set of pilings between the floats so that we can utilize those piles for our chain system.
If you were to make the floats 2.5 feet shorter? I mean, they must have a boat in mind in order to
He-
look at the particular float.
He has a boat that docks along that
He needs
exists.
probably all three floats to dock.
We're
his boat.
meeting his length of float that he has now. And the 314s are put together as a 42-foot, and we have 220s and the spacer, which pretty much equates to the same. He didn't want to lose, he has a long boat, he didn't want to lose any of his length.
So where he puts his bow and his stern and his springers, he wants it to stay the same.
Precisely.
Anybody else have anybody online, John? Any other questions?
I just have one little final one. Does the sheet piling require dead men?
Not for the height it's coming out of the ground. It barely, it'll match the other sheet piling. When you look at the, I don't think it's much more than what, maybe 3 feet above grade? So,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Christine, comments?
You do have something in here that talks about if it's necessary or if it's required, that you would move any shellfish that were found in the area prior to starting the construction.
And we can certainly do that if conditioned.
You'll
You like that?
vacuum them out? Put a vacuum in and suck them out?
Dinner.
Collect them all, tell them to go away.
And we have a report, do we have a report on eelgrass?
I haven't seen any eelgrass in the area.
Okay,
Yeah, there's nothing on the Mass DP website for this area.
all right. Because I'm just looking the 50-foot no eelgrass type thing and thinking of Denise, which is always her first question, is there any eelgrass? Any other questions from us?
No, thank you.
I think I'm going through my notes. How many times have I starred something? Okay,
Move to close the hearing?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. The hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendation.
Sorry. Standard order of conditions with the shellfish to be removed in the area prior to construction beginning. The cross bracing also being made of green heart.
The stairs,
The stairs will be stored upland when they're taken out seasonally.
is there anything else? Those, I got those three. Anything else we want to condition? Someone want to try the motion? Or just say so?
So moved.
So moved. Yeah, second.
A motion and second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained? 500, you got the project, please.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
See Christine before you start anything, all right?
Will do.
Dynamite? Dynamite?
Yeah.
All right. The next one is continued. We have a request to continue 49 Bridge, Edgewater Way.
Did we have a date?
I would just go 9/17.
Move to continue to 9/17.
Second.
Busy night.
I have that motion to continue to 9/17.
Second?
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 9/17. The next hearing was for 15 Cleveland Way, and they request a continuance
To 9/17.
to 9/17.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. We'll continue that. The certification of compliance, we don't need a continuance. It's nothing, it's not a hearing. The continued enforcements, we have Grant at 1 Reynolds Ave and Johnson at 16 Widows Cove Lane. So we're looking for another enforcement from the people who did the clearing, which is 14.
Yes.
So, okay. Now, we have no minutes, and Faith has indicated she's willing to join us. So you come down, please, Faith, introduce yourself and talk to us as to why you might want to join us.
Especially after seeing tonight's meeting.
It worked out well. I have my curriculum in case you want to look at, to get to know me a little bit and, you know, some of my background and history to see if I fit in with what you're doing too.
Thank you.
Now, do you want to, do you think you want?
I just recently am retired from federal service.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I will have plenty of time to help if you think I fit in with what you guys.
Thank you.
I'm intimidated.
No.
Okay.
I feel like I've learned a lot from attending these meetings because every state, county, city has their own regulations. I'm very familiar with federal regulations and understand through NFPA and codes and standards how it works, how counties and cities adopt different regulations. I've worked a little bit with your state forest fire warden, David Salino, and the Wampanoag tribe on, they call them prescribed fires. We used to say controlled burns, but they're
Yeah.
never controlled.
Yeah,
you
look at
know.
look at the North Rim control burn. Okay,
Right.
sorry.
And it's, he's done a very good job of working with them and mitigating for cultural and natural resources. And I used to assist in my capacity with the U.S. Fire Administration. I was fire program manager for the U.S. Fire Administration. And with the NFPA, I worked as a liaison for their Firewise Communities program, and I managed the National Wildfire Preparedness Campaign. And then I used to work as a park ranger and a firefighter. So I have a varied background. I've done some construction, so I have a little bit of familiarity with setbacks and, you know, building within a footprint and especially the 30-foot zone with water. So, but every area has its own unique habitats, and Wareham has beautiful, and that's why I chose to buy a home here and move here, because I love the coastal habitat. So if you guys think I, you know, can help you and I fit in with what you're looking for, I'd be happy to be a part of your team, so.
Jessica, questions?
Thank you so much for providing this. This is great.
I had to do it, you know,
I was gonna say,
you're
this was-
supposed to do these when you retire, so I had some good coaching. And I do believe in a job like this, I like to go to others that know more than I do. And when I was a park ranger, I hired people that knew more than I did about irrigation systems or logging or whatever, so that I could count on them to help me get to the people I needed to go to understand regulations and rules and make sure that we were in compliance. In fact, the park in Idaho had so many, how would you say, citations? I'm trying to say it in a nice way, that they were kind of in jeopardy of having to close the park. So I made a lot of safety changes at the park, you know, with the septic system, the fire response, signage on the roads, trails, all that kind of stuff, snowmobile trails. So I'm familiar with, you know, some different things. I can't do those kinds of things anymore, but I still have a little bit of that up here, so.
And Bemidji is Minnesota?
Bemidji, Minnesota. My grandfather had me go to college there because my family from my dad's side is from Quebec, and they're Métis, and at Bemidji, they had the Anishinaabe House, so we learned a little bit about our culture. So, yeah, so, interesting, so. But I've been to a couple of meetings because of the whole, you know, I was interested, and then I thought, well, maybe I could be helpful, so.
Scott, your turn.
How many meetings have you been to?
Let's see, 4 meetings. So.
On Zoom?
Couple on Zoom, and I think 2 in person.
You were here?
Yes.
Oh.
I even spoke. Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
What would you say is the most difficult thing that the Conservation Commission does?
I think the most difficult thing, and I've kind of watched you making decisions, is kind of understanding the scope of the work and how it would impact the wetlands. Looking at whether or not, you know, they're taking effective mitigation measures, or whether or not they following current and state codes, and, you know, making sure that you have all your dots and Ts crossed.
What are we doing that we shouldn't do, or what are we not doing that we should be doing? If this sounds like an interview.
Yeah.
It is.
I think from my perspective, it would be good, I don't know how you would do it, but to bring in consultants from other boards, like the health board or whatever, if there are questions that come up about certain things, like with septics or cesspools, or things that are, that you could have a little better understanding about, or maybe even consulting with the tribe if there's something that would impact cultural resources in wetlands, just to be sensitive to that, you know. But, and also, you know, I don't know, I'm not real familiar with, I know some of the Wareham because I'm building my own, you know, the contractor that built my house, but the building inspector too, to kind of consult with him, you know, if there's something that, you know, you want to know. But I watched you asked really good questions, doesn't he?
Why, thank you. I'm glad somebody appreciates them.
There were some pretty good questions there.
Are you familiar with Groucho Marx's advice in this area? He said, "I would never join a club that would have me as a member."
Right.
So, just a
No,
warning.
I'm more familiar with Harpo. He was the one that had the little horn. Right. The other Marx brother. Yeah.
Paula Jean.
Well, I'm looking at San Diego Zoo. That must have been interesting.
What?
The San Diego
Diego's-
Zoo, yeah.
Yeah, I
Love that
worked as
place.
an assistant for Joan Embry, and it was just mainly part-time because I was, you know, raising my kids, and my ex-husband moved around a lot because he was in the Navy, and so I could really easily work with Joan, and she just threw me in there with different animals, and I kind
Great.
of had a knack for working with
That's great.
some of them. Some of them really liked me, but some of them, I stayed out of their enclosure because they just, you know, animals pick who they want to be their friend. Most of them were pretty good.
Well, thank you for being willing to join us in this endeavor.
Well,
And I do recognize you, I've seen you
yes,
at times.
thanks.
So thank you.
Thanks.
Michael.
I see there's some work with FEMA in the
Yes,
past.
so I understand, U.S. Fire Administration is an agency within an agency. And it was moved from the Department of Commerce after Hurricane Katrina to FEMA, because we work very closely with fire departments. So a lot of my work with the U.S. Fire Administration was to make sure that fire departments had the resources they needed for wildland fire. So I worked with Congress, with the Wildfire Mitigation and Management Commission that they set up, to make sure that the people had the resources that they needed to respond to wildfires. So that's why I'm interested in water a lot and understand a lot about water, because when I was a wildland firefighter, I was an engineer as a volunteer firefighter on the engine, and I had the algebraic formula written in my helmet because I could never remember it, so I had the correct water pressure. And the guys were going uphill, or they had split lines, and
I saw on the news, was it last week, the week before, Hurricane Katrina was about like 20 years ago, and that just blew my mind. At the time, at the time Hurricane Katrina hit, so you have to go, and so we'll go fires before then, so we'll go 25 years ago. I was actually working for FEMA in downtown Washington DC as a student at the University of Maryland.
Oh,
So
really?
that's why I had to ask that you had the FEMA experience, that's why.
yeah. So I worked, like I was telling you, Sandra, sometimes I would have to go to Washington DC, depending on what I did. And then sometimes I worked out of the U.S. Fire Administration, their training center, the NFA, National Fire Academy in Emmitsburg, Maryland. So
Oh, yeah, I've been
depending on
there.
what I was doing depended on where I was that week.
Yes, yeah, that's a beautiful facility. It's like right on the Pennsylvania, Maryland border, just south of say Camp David,
Yeah,
for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there quite a few times.
it's beautiful. It
is.
really is nice.
It's like an old college campus
Yeah.
that they converted into a training facility.
They have the 9/11 memorial there now,
Mm-hmm.
which is really nice too, so, yeah.
Why are we so lucky to have you interested in us?
Because
Why?
I love living in Wareham, and I would like to help make a difference, and, especially environmental issues, because I really, I have a real concern for water especially, because water quality can affect our children and our children's children. And, as a firefighter, and that's part of what we did at USFA, was a lot of the cancer exposures, and that's why I was really concerned about PFAS and PFAS and all that kind of stuff, is because I saw, and I lost a lot of friends and had cancer myself, and I'm really concerned about water quality. And my degree is in environmental studies, and I was a park ranger, and I understand the pressure of trying to build, but there has to be some, restraint, where we're building within reason, so I understand if people already have homes and they're trying to make changes, but when we're doing huge developments and stuff, we need to really look at all the resources that might be impacted, in the wetlands, to make a good decision. So that's why I was interested. Plus, I have free time now. I'm retired, and I'm bored.
I work actually still, and Sandy could probably say that, Christine as well. but
Today was the
anyway.
only day I had to do something, and I called Sandy because I was like, I might be a few minutes late,
Part of it, you have an unbelievable depth of knowledge in a lot of different areas. You would have to put that aside and
Right.
listen to only the testimony that is given in front of us and not be influenced by your depth of knowledge. I'm hearing from you that there is a section of some hearings that we might have that you may have some personal feelings against. I'm talking solar, and I was hoping that you would be able to say, I can only listen and take my opinion based on the data being presented to us, not my personal feelings.
Right, I'd have to look at the data, I wouldn't just do it based on my feelings.
just-
I have
so-
to do that at the fire administration too. I mean, I had my feelings that I had to put aside when I did the commission report, but, you have to look at the data, and
As
you can't.
presented to us, yeah,
Right.
or shared with us,
Right.
okay. You have no problems being able to come on a Wednesday night, the first and third Wednesday of a month?
Nope,
And
I have
we're go-
nothing to do.
Nothing to do, so it's just about 8 o'clock. We have gone to 9:30, no problem.
Yeah, I think I was here at one meeting that was almost 10 o'clock.
There,
That
everyone's,
one that was
Sometimes
almost
we
10
can have them
o'clock.
meetings that go that
And-
long.
And I will make one other suggestion, maybe some seats for the people that have a medical issue that are a little more comfortable. So that's the only other thing.
there are two in the very back where you
I
found them.
grabbed it.
Because when I'm here, I'll sit in those back seats because of the little cushion to them.
Yeah.
Yes,
Maybe from now on, you'll be in a much more comfortable.
yes.
True, yeah, true.
Christine, any questions, comments?
I don't have any questions, but you have a lot of wildfire knowledge, which I feel like might be useful given the state of the world and how climate change is encroaching and there's becoming more issues like that.
One of the things I'm going to ask you, there is a committee called Minot Forest, and we manage a 200-acre forest in the town of Wareham, and we're missing 2 people. We're short 2 people of a staff of a committee of 5.
So you're
But
trolling
wait,
for.
no
She's
recruiting
trolling
yet.
for another committee.
And we tend to meet on the second Thursday once a month. And it's a 200-acre, and I'm always concerned about not clearing the underbrush for what might happen for a electrical strike, a lightning strike. So I would love to have somebody like you. I know, I'm promoting Minot Forest Committee.
You can send me an email, Sandra.
Okay,
and I'll
I
take
can
a
do
look
that.
at it. Yes.
Anybody else? Any questions?
I would just suggest that once you're sworn in as an associate, do some ride-alongs and some site visits with Christine.
I would like to do that, yeah, just to see how you look at things and, how, because I heard you mention some of the places had it staked out and some of them didn't, and, how do you determine where the project is if they just give you a map,
They're supposed to be staked.
Okay.
We have, most of the time, we may continue a hearing if they have not given us an indication where that thing is supposed to go on their property.
Okay.
So, somebody would like to make a recommendation that we request the appointment of Faith Perry to our Conservation Commission?
So moved.
I have that motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
500. What we'll do is I'll write a letter to the Board of Selectmen recommending your appointment to the Conservation Commission, and it'll be up to them to put you on their agenda. They will ask you to complete 3 documents. One is a Corey document that you'll complete once you get appointed. Then you have to do a file of open meeting law, open meeting and ethics.
Okay,
And I'll send you where you can find them.
okay, sounds
Because that's the
good.
first question they're going to ask you. Have you done your ethics and have you done your open meeting?
Okay.
Is there anything else, Christine, other than signing documents?
No, not on the agenda.
Faith, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time, it was
I'm so
fun,
I'm so intimidated by this resume.
No.
I look at mine, I'm saying, 33 years of doing the same
Everybody
thing.
has a story, Everybody's story is good, right? So.
Anything else on the agenda?
No, I move that we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn at 8:05, is it? 8:04.
We are adjourning at 8:04. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, we're done. Thank you. We've got some documents to sign.
You have my